Hello, welcome to this Chessodoro game review. It was a 10+5 game between 900 rating players on Chess.com. Student is playing white, and he wrote to me, I want to submit a game I'm proud of. Such games are very important for my future confidence. It has been 2 weeks of my persistent structured training. It is not much, but I start seeing that such persistency will slowly make me better. You can probably find some inaccuracies and point them out, but this is one of the few games where I was fully aware of what's going on. I had a plan and knew what to do all the time in the game. I gained the winning position while having many heavy pieces left, and I had to carefully win it. And I want to... Yeah, these games motivate. Thank you for leading through my improvement. Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, maybe next time this game was won by student, yeah. But next time maybe you can send me even the losses. We learned most from them. So great to hear about your improvement. Keep motivating, keep training. Let's start the game. E4. Yeah, student playing white. E5. Knight f3, knight c6, d4. So we have a scotch game. E takes d4, knight takes d4, d6. I call this passive setup for black. It also reminds me of the Philidor defense. Let's compare. Yeah, this is like old school Philidor, and if black now takes, you see the similarities, yeah, here. So okay, let's get back to the game. Actually, yeah, the game was like this, and instead of d6, of course, black has many more better moves, like bishop c5 is the main line. Another main line is knight f6. I think this one is, according to me, this is the best move. Also you can play queen f6, interesting move, and many more, yeah. So d6 is a bit of a passive setup, so we could double the pawns like this, yeah, but then black kind of controls the center and they get some play on the b file and so on, so we necessarily don't want to do that. Knight c3, yeah, keep developing, very good. Knight d4, queen d4. So student says I was comfortable. It was comfortable opening for me a scotch, and yeah, I agree. Opponent played passively, yeah, and already you have a slight advantage here, yeah. Queen. Usually we don't want queen so early in the game, yeah, to come out in the center, yeah, because pieces might attack it. But here it's an exception. Since these knights were exchanged, nothing can really attack the queen without big consequences, like c5 would weaken d6, for example, yeah. So knight f6, bishop f4, good move. Bishop is safely placed here. Could also play bishop g5, but I like this bishop f4 because we don't necessarily want to exchange in future, yeah, this bishop when he comes here. So if bishop e3, he might have some knight g4, yeah, so that's why bishop f4 is safe. Also, he cannot easily be chased, because then you're wasting time with the knight, yeah, black would waste time with the knight. Now knight is looking stupid, and we kind of just played bishop e3 instead, yeah, seems like so, yeah, with this knight here. So bishop e7, castle long, castle short, and you played typical prophylactic move, king b1. So getting out of the diagonal for any potential tactics, yeah, good move. So what we have here, we have opposite side castling. So what does that mean? It means time becomes who attacks first, and time becomes a big factor, even sometimes stronger than material, yeah. So if you've seen many model games around the opposite side castling, yeah, the first player who attacks usually gets big initiative and attacks, so we want to be that first player. So instead of king b1, you could also just start f3, and sometimes I call this like automatic attack, since f3 prepares g4, yeah, you can push the pawns very fast, like a pawn storm, yeah. So for example, the game could continue like here. Black also wants to do this, yeah, but I think white is faster here with the attack, yeah. Okay, back to the game, king b1, and opponent made the first big mistake in the game, I think. So c5 Yeah, looks like an attack move, which is just one move threat, but the consequences are big. He terribly weakens d6 pawn. So here black definitely should play something like this and start his own attack. Yeah, start pushing these pawns. But as I said, we are kind of faster here with white. Okay, bishop. So he played c5. Now you retreated queen d3. Interesting move. Sometimes white retreats this way to have this option to kind of swing the queen to the king side, but here in this case I don't think that's maybe necessarily possible, since you're gonna play probably f3 g4 anyway. Yeah, so instead of queen d3, I think more precise move would be like queen d2. Just back up here, since we're gonna go f3 g4 next anyway. Yeah, so queen d3, not a mistake, good move as well. Knight g4, he has some attacks here, one move threats. Yeah, now you go queen d2. So you see, maybe because of this it was more precise to immediately go queen d2, but the position still remains better for white. So, and now d6 is terribly weak since he pushed the pawn c, and this pawn we call backwards pawn. Yeah, it can no longer be protected by any other pawn, except only pieces can protect this pawn. Yeah, so it's a weakness. So black played b6. That was another mistake. Now he's definitely losing d6. So at least black should have tried moving the pieces out, and after f3 not retreating the knight like it did in the game, but retreating to e5, covering the bishop. Yeah, so we see now it's not easy to win this d6 pawn, but still it's weakness. And we could play something like bishop e2, then try to land the knight on d5 and attack again. Yeah, so central play. d6 is a long-term weakness anyway here. So, but after b6, you kind of kick the knight. Yeah, since he was threatening f2 all the time, and now he retreated here. Seems like he could save the pawn by retreating here, but actually he can't, because we go after this bishop now. We exchange the defender, and we can win this pawn like this. And there is no rook d8 to threaten back rank mate, because there is no back rank mate. Yeah, we defend here. So that would be a blunder. So instead he would have to exchange the queens. And we are up a pawn similar like in the game. So in the game happened knight f6. Now you win the pawn. Exchange everything. Maybe black could have prevented, yeah, at least queen exchange. Like I would think with black, since he's losing a pawn, try to at least keep the queens. Yeah, that's an important idea. Maybe play something like this, but looks very dangerous as well. Yeah, maybe we can improve. Maybe we could go knight b5 or something here. Yeah, threatening lots of stuff. But in general, you should avoid exchanging queens, yeah, when down material. So, okay, everything got exchanged. And you say, and I went into an early endgame with an exchange of bishops and queens. Yeah, you have a clear advantage, pawn up. So now the conversion phase starts. Yeah, you need to convert this advantage into a win. So what in general, yep, the plans could be like this. You could finish development and start exchanging first the minor pieces. Yeah, then maybe swap one pair of rooks and try to slowly win this game. So, but in the game, more dramatic thing happened. Opponent blundered here. e5 you played. You could also like put the bishop here as well. Same thing. Yeah, not letting him, not opening any of his pieces, but e5 is okay. And now opponent just blundered the piece. So I think he probably missed that you have two attackers on this square, and he has only one defender. Probably he missed that the rook can also attack the knight, or I don't know what he missed. He should play, instead of blundering, maybe here and try to be annoying as much as possible. Yeah, but then we kind of defend the pawn. Maybe later we'll kick the knight out. So knight d5, he lost the piece. And you say, as soon as opponent blundered his knight, so my task was not to mess up. Absolutely agree. I think the only trick opponent at the moment has is some back rank checkmate. Yeah, so you have to be careful of that. You just have to look for some easy cheapos, yeah, from opponent and prevent them when being piece up. And in general, just keep exchanging everything. So yeah, game continued like this. Yeah, you brought the rook. The only, yeah, as I said, the only cheap trick is back rank mate. So maybe open the king. Yeah, just in case. Always think, yeah, what are the only threats to you when being so much up in material. And let's quickly go through the game. Okay, rook came in, but black king is almost checkmated here. And you say, at some point I was calculating for almost 5 minutes trying to find a checkmate as the opponent was running onto my half of the board with his king. I didn't find the checkmate and decided to play it safe. As it appeared later, there was no checkmate. Yeah, so yeah, I totally agree. And wasting 5 minutes in this position is not a good idea, I think. You should, if you quickly check there is no checkmate, just play on, yeah? Just keep exchanging, yeah? This rook is an active piece. Try to think how we could exchange this rook, yeah, for example, and exchange yeah, only the rooks left for opponent. If we exchange that, then it's easily winning. So you kind of went for chasing the king, good idea, and you managed to trade the rooks. Yeah, actually opponent traded himself, which is a bad idea. He should have at least kept the rooks. And yeah, here you're going to queen the pawns, very easily winning. Just, yeah, and he exchanged the last rook, you see. So finally we exchanged everything. I was left with 3 pawns and a bishop versus lone king. I did not have much time to calculate, so actually you don't need to calculate in this position. You need to just move the pawns and promote them. And yeah, opponent resigned very fast, so you actually made a good idea to block his king and then just the pawns roll. Yeah, so let's conclude this game. Very finely played game. I think you didn't make any blunders in the game, maybe some inaccuracies, but considering this was a 10-minute game, very well played at your level. Yeah, didn't make any mistakes. Yeah, like and opponent played a passive Scotch game. You already had some edge. Remember this idea of where is it, of f3 and g4 pawn storm. Yeah, remember you can use it in the next games if something similar arises. Yeah, what else? Opponent weakened d6 terminally. Yeah, so he basically, that's why opponent lost the game, I would say. He played first c5 was a bad move because he created for himself a weakness, a backward pawn, and then b6 finally sealed the fate of this pawn. Yeah, you won the pawn. So, and the final biggest mistake for opponent was losing the piece, blundering the piece. So very and you converted nicely without any drama, without, yeah, just trying to exchange everything. So if you get, like, if you're going for some mate, don't try to think too hard, yeah, to find the mate and go low on time. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Usually if you don't see a mate, just keep general principles, keep exchanging. That's a more practical decision. Yeah, if you spot the mate, yeah, then it's great, but don't try to force it. Yeah, don't try to always find the mate if in such situations. So so nice win for you, no blunders. And I think next time maybe send me more of your losses. Yeah, that's the way we could learn. It feels good to win such games, but I'm waiting for your losses so we can learn more, yeah, together. Thank you for listening and wish you best of luck. Bye bye.